Hello, welcome to Weekly Shonen Recap. This week we'll be talking about Black Clover, Chainsaw Man, Dr. Stone, My Hero Academy, and One Piece with Burn the Witch at the end.
Right, starting off, Black Clover 263, right?
Yes, 263.
All right, continuing on, the I really don't like this new main character train.
Oh,
What a coincidence. My feelings have not changed at all.
and they even double down on that with that whole oh, these unjust people, I hate them. And it's I feel the angst coming off you.
At
Oh
least,
my god,
I
I
will
hate you.
say, before we really get into this, at least they kind of fixed some of the problems with other characters not knowing about Noct.
Yeah, that's true. That was nice. And that
Yeah.
still makes me wonder about the whole vice captain thing. I guess they maybe when Yami was. Well, actually, we'll get to that. We'll get to that
Yeah.
because they show them.
Okay, so it starts with him just plopping in the middle of it, and then basically telling them he doesn't like people who don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody starts summoning big magic. Jack went with both the double blades. Obviously, Charlotte's just massive vine arm golem thing, like she always does. Fergolion gets giant fire fox thing that he makes.
Mm.
Everybody's getting ready to kick this kid's ass.
It's you come into my house and you disrespect me with this?
Yeah, they're like, who is this intruder? And then suddenly, every single one of them feels hands on their shoulder, and they turn, and each one has a demon on their shoulder.
Yeah, so we have 4 separate devils in that room all at once.
Yeah, none of them look anything like Noct's personal devil, or what we think is his personal devil, which leads me to think that he has Imp Master magic or something.
They look like hollows to me, kind of Kakuzu's puppets from Naruto, just little faces on creatures. They're not really.
They're not large
expressiveness.
devils. These are literally demonic. That's why I'm calling them imps, because I feel like that's probably the closest thing that we have to him, is because they are straight up we don't know what Nox Devil's given him, what power it gives him. We can kind of infer this is the power, though, because right after this, I think Julius is the one who tries to calm everybody down, and this is Noct, the vice captain of the Black Bulls. And until now I was unaware even that he was a double host, and he seems mighty pissed behind his calm exterior. He's this feels like something I should be told.
I do wonder, because I read that and I'm okay, I still don't like that he didn't know, but I guess they explained it like that. But I do wonder, did Noct get the powers during his stay undercover, or did somebody just not tell Julius?
It kind of they kind of make that abundantly clear, more so with the way they do Jack. He's hey, I recognize you. Are you that man? And there's a flashback and Noct actually being nice with Yami back when they were in the Gray Deer. So apparently he was in the Gray Deer.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to think about with that too, is do you think the whole thing with because they go into the vice captain thing, is if there was anybody for a vice captain, it would probably be this guy. And it makes me wonder, is did Yami tell him that he would be his vice captain, when they were friendly?
Yeah, back then. Why? Which, that makes a lot of sense. They're before we get too far on that, Julius did, however, know that he was definitely spying in this Spade Kingdom, so that happened apparently before he was even a host. He got chosen to go over to the Spade Kingdom. However, we definitely also figured out that this is not the magic he uses. This isn't his personality either. This Noct is a different person than even Jack is actually referring to, because whenever he brings that up, Jack does. Mm-hmm. Noct is immediately that man is dead.
Yeah, he's just gone.
Yeah. So
and he has his well, he would still have his horn out because he summoned the devils.
Yeah, he still has the horns out because he was using the devil magic.
Yeah, but it shows his face, his little sigh face.
Yeah.
And
But Jack
he said,
says that weren't you that guy? And then he's like, but your magic was. So obviously, like what we've seen, this is obviously the magic he's using. He has his grimoire out, so it's definitely like I'm just gonna keep saying Imp Master magic, but it's like Imp Master magic.
yeah.
And but this wasn't what he had beforehand. But Noct is just absolutely not talking about it and immediately starts cutting to the chase. So like, Asta is basically our only hope. Because right now they have Yami and Vengeance. It's going to take, I think he said a week?
3 days.
3 days? Okay. Yeah. It's 3 days of Yami and Vengeance bodies being used to open every single level of hell. Because it's another Dante's levels. Inferno. Who would have thought?
Well, there's only 7, so
yeah,
he kind of skimped a bit. But oh well.
But
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It's like, they're going to have to open each layer basically individually, and once they get to the bottom, to Lucifero, it's apparently the strongest of all devils. Like, once we get there, the world's doomed, and those two die, but they'll survive up until that point.
Yeah. So up until the opening of Gate 9 or Gate 7.
Yeah.
I keep feeling that there should be 9, so I keep doing. But up until the opening of Gate 7, they're okay. Which means we're going to get them in Gate 7.
Yeah. Not only are like 6, but yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Just like right on.
But yeah, it's going to be like nearly dead on, and then it's going to be like, oops, he's out anyways. Or like Vengeance are going to die or something. But
which not only Vengeance hasn't died already, but
yeah. Not only did he have information on like how long and exactly what the ritual is, and that the ritual will kill them, he also figured out where it's going to be happening. It's that castle that he was attacking from beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the because that's another thing. We know what his other magic is. If he's like it has Imp Master magic, unless those dark tendrils were actually hands of the imps,
which they didn't look like the hand because they look like they have actual like.
Yeah, and it looked like he was disappearing into it whenever we saw him just screwing around in the castle beforehand. Having the best day ever. But it looked like he was able to like disappear into a shadow and pop out of it and use the shadows to grab things. So it's like, I think we know both of his magics already.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was right. It's 7 days. I'm looking at it now. It's 7 days. 1 day per each level.
Huh. Let me see.
From this point on, over 7 days, the advent
it says in 3 days.
It says, in 3 days it'll start happening, and then over 7 days. So there's 10 days.
Oh, okay.
Total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got my notes wrong there.
But combined onto this,
it'll
it's like
start in the 3 days. But yeah.
Yeah, and combined onto this, there's on each level. Well, I shouldn't say on each level. There are
on some levels.
Yeah, there are strong. No, there's a devil on every level, but on every level, there's a strong devil. With the first level, I think has 2. Don't think another one has 2, but yeah, the first one will release 2 devils.
I'll check on that one here.
Yeah, the first one will release 2 devils that are the equivalent of the Dark Triad's devils. So it is literally equivalent to the 3 strong people who just took out most of this country, and then going down from there, they get stronger until they get to Luciferio, who's the most powerful, and it's basically, once we get there, you have no chance.
Let's see, there's 2 on the first, 1 on the second, 1 on the third, 1 on the fourth.
Yeah, it's 1 on every other one, I think.
Yeah, there's 2 on the first, and then every other one has 1. So, yeah.
And I was kind of expecting them to do a whole 7 deadly sins at first, and like the devil of lust, the devil of gluttony, the devil of you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
However, we have 10 devils. Like, even if you ignore Lucifero, that's 9 devils. That might do like the whole 7 deadly sins after the first 2 and be like, these 2 are like the gatekeepers of it. Because I'm still kind of expecting that. That's usually the way a lot of this stuff ends up going.
And then we do see his shadow, Lucifer's shadow, or like his outline, and he is a giant.
Yeah, he is a huge, kind of fairy king looking-esque thing.
Yeah, he's got like curly horns. and tiny wings.
Yeah.
Tiny wings for his giant.
He literally looks like the fairy king from like ancient myths. Like, what is his name? Elberon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looks like depictions of Elberon, but with like bat wings, and like it's Elberon but slightly wrong.
Which makes me wonder, do you think it's because he's Lucifer that he's so big, or do you think because we know like the word devil was pretty small, and then when they were fighting, when Yami and Oster were teaming up, they fought one of the Spade Generals, and he got his devil power, and he was pretty big, but I don't know if that was his body being augmented, because he says he looks ugly when he uses it, but I don't know if that was how big the devil was or how big it was.
I don't think it's in particular how big the devil is, because it's like every devil seems gigantic inside the mindscapes. However, like we've seen people with 80% devils that aren't really getting bigger.
Yeah, and then the word devil was he was human sized.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
He was super small, then he was human sized, then he was super big, then he was small again.
Yeah, he's just generally pretty. They might just have a shape. I don't know.
But yeah,
I guess we'll just see how it goes.
Basically, all the captains, right after they hearing this, they're all like kind of shocked that he's been able to acquire this much high level intel.
Mm.
And then I don't remember who says it, but they're like, "Oh, but why would the Dark Triad release something so terrible?" And he's like, immediately just shuts it down. He's like, probably for no reason any of us could ever understand. What's the point in us ever understanding them? Basically,
like they're just awful.
Yeah,
they'll just do it.
They're the worst of the worst of the worst kind of people. I think of them as unjust evil. Then they're the kind of people I hate the most. And just hearing him go off like this horribly, like. This isn't like whenever Zora goes off on one of his tangents that he obviously doesn't mean, or whenever he's smack talking, but he's actually trying to make people better. This is straight up like, I think of these people as the worst of anything ever. And he's like, it doesn't matter if God forgives them. It doesn't matter if the devils forgive them. I'm not going to. And even Asta's kind of scared by that. And then he's like, anyways, I can't defeat the Dark Triad. It's like, but you could threaten every captain here?
Well, I was thinking about that. It might be kind of a thing because, like, they fought the word devil, and he was a big boy. So it's like, they might think that, like, these devils.
I'm not saying that he could definitely take, like, all three all at once, but it's like...
I mean on, like, a fear thing, because it's like, they see that, and then, like, these four devils just pop up behind them. They might just be more scared or like kind of cautious.
Oh, yeah, you think maybe? He was just trying to be like intimidating, but
yeah,
he straight up seems like this kind of weird stickler thing, which I can see him kind of being a hypocrite too.
I mean, I could see him being like, "Oh, I can take these people," but we saw Yami, like he was beaten. Like if he had,
and yeah, Yami is kind of abnormally strong for a captain.
Well, that's true.
It's him, if we're going on Nozel. They're kind of like the upper tier of what captains are. Even Jack a little bit, although we really only almost seen him fight seriously once.
So, yeah, I mean, Yami is like main character in the wrong manga. Strong. But it's like, it feels kind of weird because, I mean, we don't know how strong Noct is.
Yeah.
And we know how...
Basically, the way he goes about saying this, he's like, I know I'm not strong enough to beat the Dark Triad, but I can make him strong enough. And he kind of just points at Austin, and he's like, anti-magic has the potential to actually do enough about this, and if I teach him how to use his devil to use anti-magic, then he has the potential to actually save Vengeance and Yami.
So we have to get him ready in the 3 days before we attack.
Yeah, was it 3 days until they start their assault?
Yeah, it's 3 days before they start, and then they have 7 days.
This time.
Well,
no, they don't talk about when they're going to strike actually at all. Although I would assume they would try to do it within the first 3 to 4 days, because
that's what I was thinking. Because
there's no way they're going to want to fight like that many powerful devils. Like, literally, if they screw up and they're a day late, which obviously they're going to be at least a day late whenever Asta gets there, because shonen manga.
We gotta
But
at
yeah,
least
it's
beat
literally
two to
they're
be
gonna have to
good
fight
boys.
3 Dark Triad members, and they're gonna get 2 more people who are exactly as strong as them, probably a little stronger.
Mm.
And then it's gonna keep going down the echelons.
It's like, I don't. It'll be interesting to see because like one of the generals beat the entire Golden Dawn, and then
Which,
one.
let's be honest here, it wasn't that hard.
I mean, it's not the hardest thing, but it's like to wipe
Like,
out an
they're
entire squad by
technically
itself,
considered the #1 guild, but
just on
it's not because,
performance.
it's literally because of merits.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Von Jitz's power is not that suited for battle because his has got time delays, because he has to grow them. Like, it's powerful, but he has to have a powerful vanguard, which is Yuno. But Yuno's not strong enough for that.
Man, I'm still kind of upset about that whole thing with just kind of popping back into the story there.
Yeah, they're like, what happened? Like, Mimosa's not there. Mimosa might be dead, but Mimosa's not there.
And then in this other, it's like
we know the jellyfish dude, blah 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 blah, has been messing with a.
I mean, I guess we could assume that he did it off screen, maybe like. While,
but they were talking about like how bad like Gauche's and Asta's wound. Well, not Gauche's, but like a couple of the wounds on the Black Bulls were.
Mm-hmm.
So like, this is terrible.
Yeah, like was dying on the ground.
Yeah, and they acted like, oh, we're having to take a lot of this over. Then he goes to check Gauche, and he's like, Gauche is fine, though.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing with Gray's magic.
Yeah.
Helped him a lot. So we got that at least. But it's just, that was kind of weird.
But yeah, but like, he was obviously, like, preoccupied with the Black Bulls, unless somehow, like, the Golden Dog had gotten to him first, but someone would have had to go through the hole where all the wind's blowing over all the bodies, all the people on the ground, just that have been sitting there for like 12 days. Casually.
Oh, man. Everybody died in that whole thing.
You know, we haven't seen, but I really do kind of hope that this has like a physical impact on Yuno. Like, I don't want this to be like, oh, he got healed all directly by magic, because he was like, I want there to be a big scar to remind him of, like, you are not as strong as you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Yuno needs that kind of reminder. Like, Asta doesn't, but Asta already has that.
It's like his existence is that reminder.
No, that arm.
And then,
it's literally like did you see? It's like got dark tendrils that look like scar tissue on the edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got all the, like, cuts in it.
Yeah.
Or whatever you'd call those.
And then that arm is not, like, human looking at all. It looks like armor. Like sentient armor. So, cool. Yeah, like... Oof. I'm expecting big things out of this. I'm really happy that we're getting to the training arc. I hope that we do actually figure out more with Noelle, because, like, it's a good time to cut.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of that stuff with Vonica.
Yeah, the bomb exploded, like, what, 6 chapters ago?
I think so. Because, like, the bomb exploded, and then the next chapter was the stuff with the Black Bulls fighting the other general. So, we haven't seen anything with that.
Yeah, it was basically Yami coming up like, sup, bitches, again. Like he always does.
I love it. But yeah, that was the end of the chapter, so at this point, we're just speculating and hoping.
Yeah.
I want more Noelle and Mimosa alive, please.
Yeah, and it would be nice to check in on them before we get into a obvious training arc. Like, I understand, like, you want to keep some tension, but you have tension with Yami literally being, like, sacrificed.
Yeah. It's like his body being drained for essence. It's like, we're pretty good on the tension levels.
Yeah.
We don't need a whole lot.
It would be nice to see, like, if Noelle and Mimosa and Secker are going to get involved over there, because Lola Pika got taken, too.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, she got taken.
Yeah. Lola Pika and Undine are gone, because Undine goes where Lola Pika goes. But
no, I knew she got taken, but it's like, it just hit me again. It's like, wow, that character got kidnapped, and we haven't brought back that.
Yeah, and we haven't even really thought about that. Like, bombs exploded. Like, literally half the Black Bulls could be dead right now. I mean, we know for a fact Noelle wouldn't have died because she wasn't. First of all, she wasn't around the explosions. And yeah, and so she was trying to get close to Mimosa to get save her, so she could have got hurt, and probably did get hurt saving Mimosa. But that's not a big deal because Mimosa's a healer. If she's alive, then
we're all good on that one.
Yeah, like that is a definite
Sekker's thing. Okay, I would imagine.
Okay, here's the thing with Sekker.
She's a bird.
She could seal herself in stone to get around it. She could do any kind of her forbidden magic to just get around this, because, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? She'll turn more into a bird?
Or just turn into a bird and, like, just fly off. But she probably has better mobility as a bird.
Yeah.
At that point.
Or she could have found something small to duck into or something. So I'm not worried about Sekker. But
it's just covering the bases.
I'm a little worried about Luck, because he blew out basically his entire magic reserve to punch a hole through that dude's chest. Which was cool. Don't get me wrong, it was awesome. But
he's probably not doing so hot at the moment.
Yeah. And it's like everyone else that was involved with a fight with one of, what is her name?
Vonica?
Yeah, Vonica. Well, I was trying to think of her devil's name, but yeah, Vonica too. Everybody that was part of her little entourage that was exploding, all around them, it's like, okay, this is going to be... There's no way it has zero repercussions on all of these characters.
Yeah,
somebody's about to get
explosions.
Yes, somebody's about to get hurt. So, be nice to know anything about that, especially since we literally just kind of had a time skip forward. Like, not an actual time skip, like, you know what I mean? Like, we literally, like, jumped forward 3 days or so.
Yeah. So we're still waiting on it. But that was that chapter. So...
Yeah, that was it for Black Clover and back into pain mode.
Well, I was going to say it wasn't too much pain, but it still hurts. It's Chainsaw Man, so it always hurts. It never feels good. And when it does feel good, you go back on it later, and it's like, oh...
It's like, oh man, that was such a good chapter. Oh, I'm going to go back and reward myself, and oh god, the pain is back.
Oh... Every time you read a wholesome, Aki, dingy bonding moment.
Like whenever they were going to the grave.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was such a good chapter back then, whenever that didn't have horrible implications.
Whenever we had happy moments in this.
True. We've never had a happy moment in all of this. But yeah, it basically, okay, so Chainsaw Man, 83, I think they call it, what is it, the Day of Resurrection or something? A resurrection.
So.
It's resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, that has implications whenever I first read it, but it's like, okay, Makima literally starts getting ready for the day. Like, puts on a suit, pulls a lint roller to get the dog fur off, just starts walking out of her apartment, and is
Denji's still not wearing a shirt.
Denji has not changed at all since he just, like, yeah, I'm a monster. Like, still no shirt, still 1,000-yard stare.
Oh, yeah.
Being led without, like, a thought. He is literally just a warm body. But then he's getting led down this hallway with many new and old faces that we did not expect to ever see again.
Oh, man.
Well, first of all, in the new, I think, Seraphim. I don't think we've ever seen Seraphim, really, before. The Fly Devil.
I feel like I've seen the Bug Dude before, but I
don't think we've ever seen Seraphim with Denji. I think we've seen him around Makima as, like, a bodyguard.
He was working with somebody. Like, I think he might have been at the, when Aki goes to get the Future Devil contract? I think he was in that building somewhere. Like, they showed him, I think, but it's been so long. I wouldn't know exactly where to check.
Yeah, it really has been. But the weird part is, like, once we look at the names, like, these are all a lot of people that we already knew about. But it's like, every single name fits into the hierarchy of the angels, and it's like, oh, that is a lot darker now.
Yeah.
And how did we not really notice that? Yeah, Beam is a chimper.
We get Himeno, I guess, as the bat. At this point?
Yeah, it's I think in order in the hallway it goes Seraphim. Yeah, I can look it up real quick. Yeah, Seraphim, then there's Beam, and then there's Agalgi, who was the violence devil.
Who is, we should mention, put back together.
Yeah, Beam and him are literally stitched back together with most of their pieces.
with their heads on the floor.
Yeah, their heads are still sitting next to them on the floor. So I thought when fiends die, they're dead. Like, we've been led to believe that these characters were all gone.
And that's one thing that I wonder too, because they're posing. We see Makima and Denji are walking down the hallway, and we see these.
Everyone, including like, slight spoiler for what we're gonna say in 10 seconds, but Power is posing, like her hips and head.
So, I wonder, are they alive or not?
I don't know if they're alive or if it's a corpse under contract, because that's something we know can happen.
Mm-hmm. It might just be a corpse, because I don't think they'd be alive. I think it's just using that as like a show.
But she's saying these are your like loyal followers.
Oh, yeah. And we didn't finish the list either. If you wanted to go through it,
it's how far did it get? Here, I can just look at the picture.
We went through
Seraphim, Beam, Galgi, Dominion, which we think might be Hinako. Looks really similar, but we've seen a bat double before. I just cannot remember where.
He was
Virtue, I don't remember.
Well, we never really saw a human. Like, it was when Power was first introduced. She's going after the cat because the Bat Devil captured the cat. So she sends Denji to him to feed him to him. Yeah. And they end up fighting, and he kills the Bat Devil.
Yeah, but it wasn't a fiend. I think it was it's just a devil, not a fiend.
Yeah, so we never saw a person with that.
Yeah, but it's like the facial features and the hair and the outfit look like Himiko. Virtue, I think, is the snake girl. Mm-hmm. But no head and 3 arms, so not sure at all.
And they have claw fingers.
Yeah.
Like they have weird little...
Like insectoid almost. Like, I don't quite remember that's from, but then I think next was Power, then it's Princey, and then the Angels at the end. So I think they're even in... Yeah, the Principality, the Angel, the Power, the Virtue, Dominion, Beam, Seraphim. Yeah, I think they're actually in order of the hierarchies.
Huh. That makes sense because Angel's last.
Yeah, Angel's last, Seraphim at the top. Chubrum's, yeah, that's Galgi is literally the Archangel. Dominion, Virtue, Power, yeah, Principality. Yeah, they're in order. Which is a little terrifying. Like, what's more terrifying is I didn't see anyone really catch this before this moment where everyone caught it. Because they're like, oh, we've already been led with the Dante's Inferno. It's just very obvious that we're going to see more like heaven, hell kind of vibes going on. So everybody was looking for this, and we all found it. But it's Denji gets led down the hallway with all of them. And it's like, these are all your followers. She's like, they and I all had had our differences, but they all put their lives on the line to. They all gave their lives or put their lives on the line to fight and protect you.
Mm-hmm. In order to prepare for the day of resurrect.
And then gets giant freaking missile through the window. And my man, my boy, my myth, the legend, Kishibe is here last.
And he's going to get slaughtered, but we'll get to that.
Oh my god. But yeah, they shoot her Ritz hotel that she owns like 2 floors of.
Mm-hmm. They blow up the top floor.
They're like I think they're 3 buildings away is where Kishibe is, at least, with 2 guys that actually shot it. And he's like, okay, the breach happened. He's like, go Anti-Makima squad. Anti-Makima's a different squad. He's like, okay, breach squad, go in. They're like, you see all these armored guys. There's like 20 of them just running in. They're like, Makima inside, because they knocked a giant rock into her. She's been knocked to her side, and like, she's got a head wound, and I think she's missing an arm. Yeah, it looks like she's missing an arm. And they're like, okay, open fire from first squad. Second squad, rotate in after 12 seconds. They're constantly shooting her in the head. Which we've already seen that causes like a delay for her, because she takes a brain injury, she can't do anything until it heals.
Yeah, and we saw the first time that ever happened, they shot her in the head in the assassination attempt, and then by the time she got off the train, or by the time
honestly, I think Kishibe might have tried that assassination attempt. I think that might have and they were trying to make it look like it was the Katana Man group, but they were checking. Like, does this kill or what does this do? Is this useful? Because I don't see Kishibe being above that at all.
And then it adds to it too, because there's a whole 12-second thing. So it's like, shoot him to...
Yeah, how else would they know it takes 12 seconds?
Yeah.
Because how many other devils are there? Like, not fiends. This is a devil. Or possibly a devil man, because we don't know if Maki is a devil or a devil man.
Devil man. But, sorry. But, yeah, we get that. And that would be an interesting development with it turning out, or like, they don't really even have to say it, but just like a neat little thing of it being Kishibe at the start, because it does seem weird that the Katana Man and Snake Girl would do that. Like, looking back on them,
it doesn't seem that outrageous for them because they were just kind of a terrorist group. But it's like the hit against Makina felt way more planned than the other hit.
Yeah,
because they seemed kind of ill prepared for hitting like Hinako and hitting Denji and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But
like
the Makina one was
on the train turned around and
like that was perfect. Like they didn't screw up anything. And then she basically stands up, kills them all, takes the train back after making a phone call. That's it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, she didn't take the train back. She went to that Shinto priest shrine.
Mm-hmm.
To go do what Kishibe is doing right now, which is, okay, they're sitting there firing on her, and it's so great. They're pumping her full of lead. You get to see, like, 30 bullet holes in her face. Fujimoto noted we were talking about, oh, man, I would shoot her all in the face so many times. He's like, don't worry, I'll shoot her in the face so many times, guys. So, all this pent-up frustration I've had at Makima, finally something happens with that, at least to some degree. But, Kishibe turns around. He's been looking at like a monitor set, watching how everything's happening. Because there's one of the dudes. There was a spotter. There was a guy who was firing, and there's this third guy farther back. And I think he has a camera that's filming what's happening, so Kishibe can see. But he turns away from the screens to like this line of like 6 or 7 guys, and he's like
6.
Yeah. And he's like,
it doesn't really matter because of what happened.
Yeah,
but it was 6.
He's like, anti-Makina squad, get ready, and he's like, please, no, he's like, he says, prepare anti-Makina squad, forgive me, but get ready.
And this is one of the most metal things.
Yeah, there's just all these Chads walk out onto this rooftop, and they're just staring at Makina while she's getting pumped full. Like you can literally see blood scrooting out of every hole as she gets shot. It was so great. But I haven't smiled this much about reading a Chainsaw Man chapter in a while. But yeah, she's constantly getting shot while these guys kind of line up on the roof, staring dead at her. And they're like, they all say at the same time, Hell Devil, kill Makima and cast her into hell, and then slice their fucking throats.
It was so
Every
awesome.
single one, no, not every single one. One survives.
Do they?
Yeah,
it didn't
one
look like any of
survived for a little while longer than the others, I think. Yeah, he did.
Oh, because...
Yeah, he says it's up to you, Hell Devil.
Oh, okay, yeah, he gets his little final words in there.
Yeah, but the largest flame comes out of his back, so I don't think it mattered that they didn't all die at the same time, but right after they slashed their throats, Makima, while getting, like, pumped full of lead and falling to the ground, says, save me, Chainsaw Man. Not Denji, Chainsaw Man.
And then we get, it shows Denji.
Yeah, like, his dead face kind of looks up, and then his eyes just go huge with pain, and then his small intestine pops out of his stomach and loops around his neck like a dog collar.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then we get the Hell Devil popping out of the flames, popping out of all their backs, and it gets, like, made out of their intestines. Out of all 6 of them.
It's a big centaur.
Yeah, it's a big hellish centaur, xenomorph.
It's on fire.
It is cool. But, then it cuts over to, like, Denji, who's just kind of standing there by the door. It's like, we don't know when these guys die, but every single gunman's dead.
Yeah, like they're all a bloody heap on the floor.
Yeah, and Denji has blood on him, but it looks like it's his blood. I don't think it's anybody else's.
You know, let me check that real quick because we've been discussing that panel for a little bit. because it's like we can't figure out what happened because it says "Save me, Chainsaw Man."
Yeah,
And
it's like
then
it's clear kind of what happened. It's just not clear exactly how it happened because Denji did not turn into the Chainsaw Man yet.
yeah, because it shows the Hell Devil. He's looking at Denji, and then it shows Denji with his intestine wrapped around his neck.
Yeah, and then he just kind of screams, and
Yeah.
then he's behind the pieces of the Hell Devil.
Yeah, he pulls the cord while it shows the room full of dead people. So we don't know how that worked because Denji doesn't have like much on him, but he has blood all over him, like his pants and body. But like he didn't. We don't see him transform, so I don't know if he tore him up in
like if he killed him as himself, that's kind of metal. Which I really, after what we just saw, I don't doubt that he did it because literally he pulls the ripcord and then he's behind the pieces of the Hell Devil in the new upgraded chainsaw form. And one thing I'm going to mention real quick, we did not see any of the devils after this form, after all the people came in. But one thing we do see is the new Chainsaw Man form, which is sick, by the way. It has aspects of every single one of them.
Yeah, it has the horns.
Yeah, it has Power's horns.
Multiple arms.
Yeah, from Galgi. And then it has beam scales. And it's got Princey's like insectoid armor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he is literally like 4 times the size of Denji now. With giant arms, chainsaws from everywhere. And he looks insane with like people have been calling it like the Greninja kind of scarf tongue thing. But yeah, he's got a dog collar on, made out of his own guts, still coming out of him.
So that's where this chapter ends.
Yeah, with him wiping the floor with one of the strongest devils we know about.
Which it makes me wonder, could he stand up to the Primal at this point? Because he put up a somewhat decent fight as he was, and now he's levels.
Yeah, it's like, I would even say he's definitely stronger than Machina as far as we've seen. So it's like, he'd put up a better fight than she did against the Darkness Devil, and she put up a pretty good fight.
And then we saw the whole thing with the light, like when he was fighting Santa, after she took some of the Darkness Devil's power, which also, she took like a quarter-sized ball of his body.
It was like a fingernail.
And she turned into that thing. But he lit himself on fire, so the Darkness Devil is weak to fire.
And honestly, with that amount of armor he has now, plus his regeneration, I doubt he would even feel being lit on fire.
Do you know how cool that would be?
Oh, I know. But literally the contract where he said, I want to be your dog, he's a dog.
Mm.
He is a hellhound, actually, but it's...
Oh, man.
Yeah, don't know what Day of Resurrection was, but this is... Yeah. I'm scared for Kishibe so much now, even though he was so cool in this chapter.
It makes me, because he's one of the best devil hunters.
He's the best in Japan. He was one of the top 2 that we know of.
Mm-hmm. But we know from him talking to Quan Chi and her dolls that he does not have that many good devils and not many parts to make contracts with anymore.
And not only that, they straight up says because he's so old and he's given up so much for the fighting, it's just accelerated it. So he is a lot weaker than he used to be, while still number 2. But Quan Chi's number 1, and nothing about her's changed. Yeah, but we did not see Stealth Ninja Girl. I'm holding on for a hero in the morning light. Anyways.
And then it's just one of those things because it's like, oh man, the Day of Resurrection, and she gets cut off. He's plot dropping us. And it's like, oh man.
I don't even know what's happening right now. Are we the final stages of Chainsaw Man? Or is this just the middle ground of we're about to hit something we didn't even think Chainsaw Man could ever be?
I really don't know because it's not, we don't need to compare how long series are necessarily, but Fire Punch was a good 83 chapters. This is Chainsaw Man at 83, and it's still got enough to, we haven't dealt with Makima. We don't know what's up with this. We don't know like how Pochita's doing.
Yeah.
Because one thing we talked about, I remember, was this might be just Pochita. Like,
yeah, it really could be.
Because like now that Denji broke his contract by giving up his own life, pretty much.
Yeah, he gave up his ability to think about things. So it's like, I'm terrified for Denji to a certain degree.
Mm. But he's like, yeah, I don't know. Because this feels like some in-game stuff. But there's so much more we could cover. But then with his style, it's like, we've also talked in the past about the Primal Devils and everything. And it's like, there's 3 more. I think they said there are 4 total.
Yeah, I think they said 4 total.
It's been seen the 1. Which we don't really need to see the other 3 necessarily, but it would be neat. But with his style, it's like I could see him pulling it off and me not even caring that we didn't even see him.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I don't know if it's going to go on much longer. I hope it does because I don't want it to end. At this point, I'm just like, give me as much as you feel comfortable with.
Just keep loading us down with every Chainsaw Man. But I don't want to make too many predictions about Chainsaw Man because obviously we can't make a prediction about Chainsaw Man. It's just so crazy.
Like, there's so much. It's like, did we expect 6 people to cut their throats at the same time? No.
Yeah, I don't know how we weren't.
That was crazy. Like, it blows my mind
literally,
how dedicated these people are.
Yeah, like 30 people just knowingly killed themselves trying to go against her because every single one of those shooters knew they were going to die. Like, they made plans, like, we are dead. And then those guys who were literal sacrifices knew they were going to die. Kishibe obviously told them they were going to die.
At least he had the decency to apologize.
Yeah. Not only that, he's not like Makina, who's just like, bring me prisoners that cover your eyes, and then she's just slicing their throats and naming people. That was so cool.
Like, now that we're seeing that, it's like, that's pretty crazy. Now that we know more about how the powers work and everything.
Yeah. That gave me some, back then, I know this is slightly off topic, but that gave me some serious, like, Death Note, like, the writing in the notebook and then somebody just falling over vibes of her slicing one's throat and naming somebody and somebody just dying or exploding. It was amazing.
When they crushed them.
Yeah, I want that dramatic orchestra music while it happens.
Man, there's so much you could do with a good Chainsaw Man anime.
I'm kind of really terrified about the Chainsaw Man anime because if it's not done well, like, I'm going to be so sad because
the series deserves
it is almost an anime in the way that you read it already because there's so much fluidity between panels. It's like, if this gets a bad anime, I will riot.
And then there's even stuff like we talked about right before we started this, but it's like there's even stuff where, like, when Denji cut the Hell Devil, it does that old trick of, like, he cuts him and then the next panel is him just, like, covered in blood from the explosion of the body parts.
Yeah, because the blood starts pouring out of it after that. So
it's like they did that old anime trick like that, and that that was cool. I love the way he sets all this up.
Usually it's like a single cut katana thing. This one was all 5 chainsaws. Yes, 5 chainsaws. Slicing. You can literally follow the path of every single one to where he's standing. It is insane. Like, you can see how he jumped, how he pulled his hands in his head to the exact spot he's standing. It is crazy.
And, like, that is a strong devil, and he dumpstered that thing.
But
I could go on talking about
moving
Chainsaw
on
Man.
to Dr. Stone, because we can literally make a podcast dedicated to Chainsaw Man, and we probably should at some point just make an entire episode dedicated to Chainsaw Man.
We should just go in like one of those in memoriam things, just go through the chapters like, oh,
in the arms of an angel. Oh, man.
Okay, so we can do this.
Dr. Stone 164.
This chapter was cool. I liked it a lot.
This chapter was Boichi flexing on us all.
We get the start of the... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, we get the start of the dogfight. The main focus of this one is the dogfight that they started in the last chapter. And man, does he pull out the art stops. I tell you what, this chapter looked amazing.
Yeah, and the... Oh, man, it was literally... The art is what made this, like, really one of the best that there is. Because they're up there fighting against... what's his name? Stanley? Yeah.
Yes.
They're up there fighting against Stanley, and everybody's like, oh, man, do they even know they're going against Stanley? Oh, they're going to die. And it's like, we can't stand up to him. And then Luna's like, why did Senku think immediately after an operation he should climb in a cockpit?
I thought that was so funny.
It really was.
I've been loving the humor so much.
I love Dr. Stone Hero. it's the humor in it's so great. But Senku literally pulls out this gigantic machine gun, and they're like, when do we have time to build a gigantic machine gun? And they're like, obviously we didn't have time to build a gigantic machine gun. The only gun we have is the pistol. And then it cuts over to Ryusuke talking to Senku, and he's like, so that's basically just a giant bat, right? Why did we make that? He's like, oh, to be intimidating.
If he knows that, he said,
if he knows the only thing we have,
big gun,
yeah,
then he can like just body us.
Yeah, he will not be afraid about getting into just sniping them out. Mm-hmm. So instead, they're trying to trick him into doing an aerial battle, and then we get to see exactly how good Stanley is, basically.
Yeah, Stanley, he does some work in this chapter. The whole thing is... Oh.
Yeah, he pulls old dogfight tricks. Like real dogfight tricks, which this is, by the way, the point where the art just goes insane.
Like the clouds in this. Oh, man. It looks so good.
They're like, why are they just playing, like, aerial tag? And they immediately explain, like, oh, it's because, the one who explains it is that mangaka guy who drew the money for Ryusuke. He's like, I was drawing a military series before I turned to stone. And I think it was called, like, World War IV or something.
Oh, yeah.
They have to, the whole point of it is, like, in dogfighting, the first one to lock on to the other one wins, so they're trying to get behind each other.
Mm-hmm. And they keep pulling increasingly crazy stunts trying to get this done. Yeah,
they're like, oh, man, this plane's, like, being pulled apart by the G-forces, and then it immediately breaks, and it's like, Senku's basically like, yeah, that's the whole reason I got in here, actually. He's like, this thing is barely put together, and I'm here to make sure that it stays together through this one fight. But,
one thing I like, too, is his explanations of the different maneuvers, too, because he actually goes through and explains how some of these, like, he draws little models of how they move and everything, and kind of explains a little bit about them, and I really enjoyed that.
One of my favorite parts about this is, like, this is, I think, the first time Ryusuke's admitted he doesn't know something.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and he's like, the skills of a spider pilot, I want those. But he basically E-brakes in the middle of the air and makes a gigantically sharp turn, which just puts a huge amount of drag on the plane, so they're trying to, like, overshoot around him so that they'll be behind him.
Yeah.
So they've been in front, so they're just trying to pull to the side and loop behind and keep the speed. But then the weird thing that I thought was kind of funny was they're like Stanley's like the high-speed yo-yo, and he's suddenly in the armor just spinning around a yo-yo at high speeds. It's like, what the heck's happening? Because they did a maneuver just to get behind in basically the same 2D fashion. So he immediately instead goes with a three-dimensional movement of going over. He's been in front of him, so he goes straight up, and then he uses the same kind of maneuvering. But he's using gravity to assist it. So he goes up, then around, and then back down using gravity, pull him right back at the same speed he was at.
Man, This is such a cool chapter.
Yeah. And then we get to see, basically, they talk about how it's basically an aerial chess match instead of just a, the way where they were thinking about it at first was a game of tag, and no, it's really like aerial chess. It's like,
Especially with the permanent planes.
Yeah, and the limited amount of ammunition.
Yeah. Like, they can't make all these crazy maneuvers without destroying the plane. Which, I mean, Senku's there to fix it, but it's like, you can only have so much duct tape.
But yeah, it's at this point that I think Stanley kind of noticed that their plane was kind of broken. But he's like, okay, I'm going to send you to hell now, and I'll meet you when we're down there. And he's like, Ryusuke's like, you've backed me into a corner, but I think this will be the moment that I can take those magnificent skills of yours. And then he pulls an insanely complicated flip just to get behind him again. And they called it, what, the Cobra maneuver?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's a vertical flip to get behind a plane, which there were so many times he could have crashed or the plane could have ripped itself apart while doing something like that.
And he's just the character that would attempt something that crazy.
Yeah. He did it perfectly. It's like, a primitive plane like that could not have done that with the fuel that we have available. And that's where Senku's like, yeah, with your fuel you couldn't have done it. But that's why he mentioned the castor bean oil beforehand.
Yeah.
He's like, that can actually be used as a extremely high quality engine oil. It's basically like, you can thank the fact that the Japanese people are both resource starved and full of ingenuity, because we figured this out so long ago.
That was cool.
Yeah, I ended up having to like Google this, and it's like, yeah, this was used during like World War II, castor bean oil. Yeah, to make up for really poor quality planes, like in like not poor quality in like their design, but poor quality in the materials.
Yeah, because they didn't have all the stuff that.
Yeah, they were using like, they don't have iron ore; they have iron sand. They'd have to trade for iron ore, and that is expensive. So they just made the planes extremely light, extremely fast, and then they made them extremely maneuverable with stuff like this. But it's they get in the perfect spot. Then we get beautiful boy Ryusuke whenever he takes off his helmet, which I don't even understand the point in that, but it was cool.
He looked fabulous, and I love it.
Yeah, he just takes his helmet off in the most fabulous way he can possibly think of.
He's just like, oh. And his hair starts flowing
back. Then he pulls out the pistol and leans out the side, all while steering still, just because he's going to shoot the plane down. And that's where the chapter ends.
Looked amazing.
Yeah. So, like I kind of don't buy that would work, but I want it to work so bad.
It's like, we can't beat Stanley that easily. But at the same time, that was sick.
Especially since I have never found a gun like that in history. Like, that might be how the first revolver worked. I'm not sure. Never seen one that rotates on the top. It's still basically a black powder gun. And, like, the things that were doing stuff like that was, like, the duck shot, which just had multiple barrels that you lit at different times. So Senku's gun is a mixture of an old black powder gun with, like, a newer revolver, which is still pretty old, but it was, like, the 1800s versus the 1600s.
Which is enough of a leap.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty significant leap. But, yeah, that cool panel around. I love the art, and it was literally Boichi's like, want to see me flex again?
Yes, please. Give me more Ryusuke beam.
And we're going to try whenever the chapters start coming out. This is related to Boichi, but not directly related to Dr. Stone. Whenever the Ace side story stuff starts coming out, we're going to try to cover that.
That'd be cool. Especially, we were talking about that, the Zoro versus Mihawk fight that Boichi redrew.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
that was cool.
That is basically the reason they picked him for it. Is like, okay, you want to do this? You're obviously a huge fan, and that was awesome. It's like, not a lot of people I don't think should touch One Piece, but like, Boichi's art really does, like, they've put out some sample art of like what his Ace looks like and everything, and it looks great.
I need to look that up. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Ace looks awesome. Like, it's not weird looking for Ace's design at all. Like, I know people were talking like Sanji looked pretty weird beside that Zoro versus Mihawk fight at the Baratier.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, a little, and Luffy's like doesn't have all like the stretchy facial features that he normally has. Like he
But
stretches,
then,
it's just it looks in human proportion, which that's not really how Luffy smiles or does anything. It's like overly stretched because he's the rubber man.
mhm. Yeah, but we'll look into that because that would be cool. But I do wonder, we were talking about the kind of plot it covers. Is Oda involved in this? I don't know if you told me about that or not.
I know he said that it's canon.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think somebody else wrote it. I think they might have gotten permission and gotten some details ironed out by Oda.
mm,
But it's not directly his story, but he's basically like, yeah, that's basically how I imagine it.
okay, so that's good to know. So we won't get some like weird messing up the lore thing.
Yeah,
Which
it's
I mean,
nothing. Yeah, it's nothing that seems like it's going to be overly like plot relevant because that's not really the thing about it. It's more of like if you've ever wondered how Ace got from here to here in significance, this is how.
mm, yeah. So that'll be real fun to see when that eventually comes out.
Okay, now going on to My Hero Academia 283. First of all, I'm going to straight up mention this is the only one that's not coming back next week.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
strange to say that
know
One Piece is
why.
coming back and My Hero isn't, but I'm not sure as to why. I haven't looked into the logistics as why this one's skipping. It might be like Oda and just Horikoshi needs a break for something.
Mm,
But yeah, none of that next week, which sad because it's been really good. But at the same time, if he needs a break, he deserves a break. He's been doing good.
yeah, man. And this chapter ends on a little bit of something, but it's not like one of those where it's like, oh man, I need this resolved right now. You know.
And this one's the one I'm a little fuzzy on, so I'll let you start off with the My Hero Academia.
Okay, so with this one, we see the kids with it starts with like a cover page of Momo's group
Yeah.
looking at the forest where Gigantomachia was, which is now just a giant like pulled out bit of earth.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
he is
remember
just
that part. Yeah,
destroyed
it's
it.
they're basically just like explaining how Gigantomachia got from the forest to the first city that he's at right now.
Yeah, because the sedative didn't end up working.
Which
And
what a coincidence! The guy who has a ton of quirks nobody knows about might have had a quirk that went against the sedative.
well, at least I
It
guess
was a
it
good
works.
plan, but it's like there were holes in it.
Mm. I mean, they didn't have much choice at that point because it's like, what are you
Yeah,
gonna
it's
do
like
against this?
yeah, what there wasn't really like they don't know enough to know what to do to take out Gigantomachia.
Mm. But so we get that, and they're kind of looking back at what happened, and what happened was the sedative did not work, and then Gigantomachia now has. I don't know if he always had or if he grew these as part of his
No,
transformation,
he grew them.
but he has like digger claws, like mole claws, going
Yeah,
through the
and he's got like
tearing
vam
through the earth,
braces, and he's got like he basically looks like an echidna with a helmet plate.
which looks awesome. It was a
Yeah,
really cool spread page.
and they're like, the kids are all like shocked. They're like, the only reason we're even alive right now is because they didn't even think we were worth finishing off because we're not
Which
worth
is
as much as the time it would take to kill us.
which is funny because for Gigantomachia it take like 5 seconds.
Yeah, but he's like, I have no time for that at all. So basically, like, Majestic and a couple of the other pro heroes try to take off to go after him, while Majestic like shoots back the disc he had all the kids on, and then
Yeah,
you see Majestic get slapped out of the sky, and then all of their discs basically turn off. They get dropped, but probably another pro hero dead because he straight up got like full on direct punched.
by Gigantomachia. So it's like that's
Yeah,
it.
and like we
Poor
don't know where Mount
Majestic.
Lady is because we didn't really see anything about her. Not even like if she's like passed out, still gigantic somewhere. We didn't see that even.
Mm-mm.
But we saw Fat Gum basically like running around his ankles trying to stop him.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think. Did we see? Uh, what's her name? What's her name? What's her name?
Midnight?
Yeah, Midnight.
No, they've
I
still
don't.
left that ambiguous as to whether she's even alive or not.
Yeah, because we saw her meeting those villains in the woods, and then it just cut away from them. We haven't seen that, and I couldn't remember if we saw her this chapter or not.
No, we have
But
not yet. But what does it do right after that? I know it cuts back to Shigaraki, but
they talk about how they just might have made it worse by getting Gigantomachia just more on a path.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really do anything. They just kind of made him angry.
Yeah,
and now he's...
They at first they were even like, it's like, we might have been slowing him down, but he's gotten so much faster now that he got slowed down that he probably got to that city faster than he would have initially.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, it was a good effort. They couldn't do much, like we said.
Yeah, like, there's no way they could have known about what all this monster has.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it go from there?
We get the next part about the death and destruction, and it cuts to Shigaraki.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying... It cuts to Shigaraki talking about how he's going to just destroy everything again. Yeah. And then we see Eraserhead getting his leg tied up. They're trying to use his scarf.
Yeah, to like bind his leg, but it's like the scarf. It sounds like a good idea, but then they even figure out like, oh, it's not just a scarf. It's like grippy and it moves strangely to work as a capture device. So they're like,
yeah, it's all like tied into itself, so they can't really get it off to tie it.
So it's they were thinking of it more as a piece of cloth instead of the weapon it is, but.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, they're just trying to find something because he's going to bleed out on the ground. Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. It kind of does like a twofold thing. It's like, oh, it shows they're kind of panicking, but it also gives us more of a hint as to that that scarf works really not like a scarf at all.
Sorry,
there you go.
My son go. But, yeah. So we actually see how it kind of functions, which is kind of a weird thing to answer in the middle of this, but there you go. But then we see Todoroki talking to Endeavor because he put him around ice to cool him off.
Yeah.
So he can get his power back.
Yeah, because he's sitting there with basically heat exhaustion is really the biggest problem that he's having at the moment.
Yeah, and then we see Bakugo gets really angry, and Deku just runs at Shigaraki.
Yeah, and one of the things that Bakugo seems like he's getting mad at is how emotional Deku's getting. Because Deku literally just like stopped thinking about everything and ran straight at Shigaraki.
Yeah, which I couldn't tell. Was he reacting to that, or was he just doing his own thing, and then Deku decided to run at him? With the way
it looks like he's reacting towards Deku.
Okay, I couldn't tell. I was looking at the panel. It's like because it shows Bakugo yelling on the ground, and then it shows Deku running, and I couldn't tell if he was reacting to that or just it was separate events, just happened to be in the same panel. But I guess since they grouped them in the same panel, it would be reacting to that.
Yeah.
But Deku starts running, and we see Shigaraki, and his right arm separates from his chest.
Not even it's not even like it's weird to say. It's like not like it did it at the shoulder. It's like his chest falls down.
Yeah, it got part of his arm, and his chest starts to like. It's like he's getting ripped to pieces, and it turns out that because he's
I overtaxed my body, but now that I don't think he knows Aizawa's actual name. He said, but now that Eraserhead's down, my hyper regeneration quirk should be working. So why isn't it? And then he's just looks up and he's like, what day is it today?
Because he's been in the tube the whole time, so
yeah, he just assumes that it was done.
Mm-hmm.
but he's only at 75%. And then Deku, after hearing him say, "What day is it today?" he like immediately comes to the same conclusion of he's not finished and he's overtaxed it. Which is, Deku has a lot of experience with the overtaxing of a super powerful quirk like that. Like, there's huge backlash to it. And while Shigaraki can kind of still keep piecing himself back, he can't keep fighting at this level.
Yeah, so he'll have to get out of there eventually, somehow.
Yeah, and pretty soon, too, if he wants to actually get away without even more injury.
Which, I mean, he doesn't care about his body that much. He just wants to keep going. He's like, he gave up his hand to make it like a gun.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, he does not care about bodily injury besides the fact he can die from it.
Yeah.
He'll do whatever it takes. Like when he busted his own mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Against Deku last chapter. But, okay, so, yeah, we get that part with the 75%, and it takes that question and cuts to Mirako, and I think it's Edgeshot carrying her?
Yeah.
I think
it's Edgeshot, too, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like him, but they don't really focus on him that much. It focuses on Mirako more, but he's carrying her and trying to keep her awake and just kind of encouraging her. Yeah, for basically
dying and going into shock.
Yeah. And I can't remember what she talks about, but I think it's just like talking about how she's not going to just die from this.
Yeah, she's like, something like this isn't going to kill me. Which, yes, Mirako. Yes. She is my new, like, idol. Like, straight up, I haven't seen a girl this badass since Korra.
Man, Korra was cool.
Like, there is no question in my mind Korra could kick my ass. Bending or no bending, she could kick my ass. She lifted that bear dog and 4 grown men in a bear hug. Yeah, but I am so hope she gets through it, especially since he's talked about, this is my new favorite character.
Which we can see why, and we thank him for it. Because it's just like, yes, we need more of this awesome character in this, please. But I hope she gets like a robot arm through like some kind of...
Oh, he's already shown that with that cover page thing that he did.
Did he? I didn't. Yeah. I don't.
She had like this cool like steampunk arm.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and a steampunk leg, because we were like, oh, why does she have the steampunk leg? And then she lost the leg in that chapter, and we're like, oh, that's why she has the steampunk leg.
Yeah, but so after that, we then cut to the doctor who's getting taken away by the cops, and he's just yelling about how Shigaraki's...
how you're all gonna pay now because he's been realized.
Mm-hmm. And then, what's his name? The music guy. Present Mike?
Yeah, Present Mike.
Yeah, he starts getting worried too, because he's just taking what the guy's saying about all the destruction to heart.
Yeah.
And then we then cut back to Shigaraki again.
Yeah, he's noticed all the people lying around everywhere, and he's just like, screw it, and he's just goes to slam his hand in the ground, and he's going to decay like in a giant area again, which don't know if he would actually live through that, but we don't actually get that far. Because Deku
activates float.
Yeah, and then Black Whips, which, how does he have so much control over Black Whip? Like, when did this happen?
Maybe it's like one of those...
During stress, that one time he lifted a bus. But
it could be
every other time he's kind of used it like a Spider-Man web slinger to do small things in a localized area because he can't control it. But this is massive.
It might be just one of those like shonen things where it's like just the stress of the situation made him get better at it kind of thing.
But yeah, from thinking about he basically was thinking about how all this is going to happen, Deku was. And then because he was thinking ahead in his head after he heard the what day is it thing. And then he saw him basically notice and go to slam his hand, and he jumps in the air and pulls everybody, including Gran Torino and Mirako and everybody, up into the air so that they won't get hit by the shockwave, and then floats down and punches them in the face. And Gran Torino is still alive, by the way. And he sees it,
We're
and
gonna
he's
get
like,
another.
yeah, he's like, that's Nana's quirk.
It was a cute little thing because it shows her just floating. She's smiling, and it's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Deku is not smiling.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
he
he's
goes
like,
down
we're gonna fight
Shigaraki.
my way in the air, and then he just decks him.
Oh man, and that's where that chapter ends.
2 weeks.
Well, I said at the beginning it wasn't much of a cliffhanger, but going back on it again, it's like,
yeah, it's a pretty good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of questions I want answered, but it left at a hype moment. So,
I wonder at this point because we have 7 powers to get through with this, and we have float and black whip, and I'm of the school where it's either going to be where he gets like good control of float because it's stressful, and he's better at black whip because it's stressful.
Yeah.
Or we're going to use these stressful situations to just zoom past some of these powers.
Yeah. That's
because
kind of what it feels like. Because we
left.
know a couple of the powers are completely, like, at the time they would have been considered useless.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all, like, utility powers. Like, Black Whip is not a powerful tool by itself. Because it was a very localized thing when it was before he had All for One.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
yeah.
No, One for All. Sorry. Wrong one.
I do that all the time. I don't even.
But before he had One for All, that guy was basically, he was like, I used it in a localized area based off of what Bakugo found out about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now that Deku's had it, it's like obviously he can cast bigger things and he can use it like a net and it's much stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically looks like it's going to be a whole bunch of utility things that by themselves are bad, but used in conjunction with both the super human strength and just good ingenuity and the other powers, yeah, he's gonna be pretty OP.
I mean, like, I'm just thinking like he could web somebody, slam him into the ground, get float, and then like boost himself with his legs.
Yeah, like
to,
right now he can
him.
throw hurricanes. He can float around like he's Storm. And not only that, he can swing around like he's Spider-Man, plus web people. Like, he's Poison Ivy mixed with Spider-Man with the control over the Black Whip.
And then he has the Superman power level.
Yeah, so plus the flight. And then on top of that, he's just got the ability to, like, throw a hurricane if he wants because, air pressure.
And he doesn't even have to jump because because All Might said that he only ever focused on strength.
Yeah.
But he can use float to just like move around because All Might jumps like Hulk. He uses his power to jump.
Yeah.
So it's like now Deku can just float and just bust through.
Well, Deku's always been more of a speed character.
Oh yeah.
Strength character.
I'm just saying it's like
I think he can literally do what Gran Torino or like Gentle did. Like I can see Deku like bouncing around in 3-dimensional space by using float to basically, because the way float seems to work is like it's like an invisible platform almost below your feet or below the object you want.
That's what it looks like in the panel.
Yeah, looks like it's like an air disc kind of thing that floats you up. So I imagine he's going to use it as a way to redirect himself, like the way Gran Torino and Gentle did, because he always takes something from people.
We're going to get a Gentle flashback, and that's going to be the only Gentle we ever get anymore.
No, I want more Gentle. More Gentle. He's my favorite freaking villain.
So that was the end of that chapter for Hero Academy.
Yep.
Do you have anything else you want to say, or do you want to go into One Piece?
Really, I think we've said everything that we really need to say for My Hero. Like, it was really good.
It was a good chapter.
But
man, all these chapters were pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading this week's chapters.
Yeah, this week was pretty hype all around. Like, especially Burn the Witch. But we'll get to that. But, One Piece, going with you.
It still feels funny that you just said, especially Burn the Witch. It's like, I never thought.
I know. I never thought either. But
here we are.
Here I am, excited about Kubo again.
He curses us.
Please don't flub this ending this time, but...
we have about probably 60 pages left, I would say. Like 60 odd pages, I would guess. He's going to find a way and I'm gonna be so upset at myself.
Especially with how much I love this dude's name that's in the newest chapter. But first, let's do the One Piece one.
Okay,
990. Yeah. We are in a 10-chapter countdown until 1,000.
89, actually.
Is it?
We just finished 89.
Oh, this is 89?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was 990. Oop,
no, we're close. We're close.
But yeah, we are getting there.
The big 1,000. Oh, that's going to be a crazy day. One Piece chapter 1,000.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, that's going to be awesome.
One Piece.
Okay. So, with this one, we see the aftermath of Frankie peeling out on Big Mom's face. I love the fact that... He
literally hit her with every part of the freaking Frankie Shogun.
That feels like a gag moment to me.
I'm surprised so many. Like I've watched a couple people's last two chapter reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anybody talk about how every piece of the Frankie Shogun has hit Big Mom yet.
Really?
We're the first people to catch it. I know, right? I want to get on a teching live stream with this channel and just be like, hey, did you notice that every part of the Frankie Shogun has hit Big Mom now in the face?
Yeah, but we get that. And Big Mom starts getting angry again.
She's not as mad as I thought she was going to be.
Honestly,
yet.
No.
She's getting more mad. And by the end of the chapter, she's so mad. But she's just sitting there just screaming, Strats! Because every time she's had an interaction with them, one of them's mouthed off at her and hit her.
I love this. Like, we don't know anything about Shanks' power level. We know Kaido's a monster. Blackbeard's going to be pretty strong when he gets going. It's like they treat poor Big Mom like she's both strong and they treat her like a joke at the same time, and I love it. You know? It's like just peeling out a motorcycle on her face.
No, I know.
Can you imagine if they did that to any of these other dudes?
I hope they do it. I hope they do it to another Yonko.
Do it to Kaido and just watch his face. Do it to Shanks. That'd be the funniest. Like the human-sized person.
But is this the part wherever it goes to Nami's like, Frankie, that's a Yonko? Is that where this happens or no? My phone died. I can't check.
Let me check. I'm sorry. I didn't get that part. I wrote like a lot of big moments down, but I didn't get that. Let me check. It'll take just a second to get to it. I am sorry. 989. Here we go. Let me get to it. I'm sorry. This is what is with us in this? Let me see.
One thing I'll talk about real quick is like Pound finally realized that locket apparently he's been carrying around has a family photo in it.
Oh yeah.
He figures out to try to pull this out while getting shot at with cannons while swimming at high speeds towards his freaking family.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I just saw what happened, and Luffy starts heading off to where Kinemon is. And he leaves Momonosuke to Yamato, and he goes and starts yelling at Momonosuke. He's like, "I am Kazuki Oden," and they both just freak out.
Yeah, it's like, I am Odin and I will protect you. And then you just get these disgusted face, and Luffy's like, "Don't worry, it's all right." And they're just like, smoke jutsu and gone. And she's like, wait! But right around the same time, Jinbei is like, this is completely turned chaotic. Will you help me out, Nico Robin? And she's like, just give me the order.
Man, I love our group dynamic already. I'm not the biggest on Jinbei, but I already like his... He has good chemistry.
I love how they show even Carrot's like sitting on the freaking RU4 now, and she's just cheering like, yay!
But then we get a little part of the samurais fighting just more grunts. at the moment. And then at this point, we get more of her.
This is, I think, where they talk about how it's Hyogoro of flowers, right? Hyogoro of the flowers.
Yes.
He's basically like, we need to stop messing with the riffraff and we need to go after the Toby Ropo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then right after that is where Frankie starts raiding the beam. He gives his little speech.
Well, before that, like, Big Mom specifically calls out Brooke. She's like, Sulking, we meet again. But you have so many rare and fascinating creatures on your crew. And he's like, yo, you have quite fine taste. And then freaking Frankie joins in on this, and he's like, do you like this big metal bot? And then even Carrot's like, hey, I'm fascinating too, and tough. And then she like bunny punches.
I want Carrot to be a crew member so bad. Please give me that before the end of the series, or I'm doing it in my head. I'll do it in my head.
Nami immediately freaks out. It's like, we have to leave. She's Yonko, and Frankie's like, Yonko? What do I give a damn about a Yonko when our captain's gonna be the king of the pirates? And just readies his radical beam.
That is the most awesome thing.
This is one of his coolest speeches he's ever given at all. But yeah, he starts up the radical beam, and then the numbers just bust into the thing. They're all gigantic and just like look like jackals and demons and all kinds of
big
stuff.
Oni monsters. I know Onis are demons, but
they're basically Onis. But
yeah, they're just big old boys.
But Frankie kind of looks over towards the numbers with his radical beam ready in his hand. Meanwhile, I think Brooke is laughing in the background or screaming. I can't tell. It's hard to tell with him.
He's screaming.
Carrot is crying, and Nami looks like she's about to die from screaming. But Frankie's just like, those things kind of remind me of Thriller Bark.
Oh yeah, they're all oar size too, which is one thing because like
I don't think they're quite oars' size. I think they're big, but not oars yet.
He says they're.
They remind him.
No, actually, I think it's
Nami says they're oar size, which is why I don't think they're quite oars' size.
I was wondering though, because like they said that, but if you look at the characters, I don't know if it's just a weird perspective thing to me.
Yeah, like that last guy in the back, he might be around Orsa's height. But the front two are definitely shorter than Ors. So that's why, like, Nami's being a little hyperbolic about this, but like, apparently these are just attempts at making ancient giants, so there's a point in that being Ors-like.
Yeah, because Big Mom says that. She's like, Kaido brought them from Punk Hazard.
Yeah, he not brought them, bought them.
Oh, bought them. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought I need to wear my glasses.
Yeah. She apparently these were for sale at some point.
Can you imagine the auction house that held that thing?
Yeah, it had been like Caesar Clown was like, open house. Who wants Vegapunk's dumb shit?
Want this weird misprint? That's what you get.
And Who wants this dragon snapping crab thing? I don't know what to do with it.
It keeps biting me. I need to get out of the house.
I am done with this thing. I am killing it or throwing it away. Take it.
Oh, man. And then, so Frankie notices the Brachio tank.
Yeah, he's in the front one, which I think is number 4.
Yes, 4. And he hits him with a radical beam.
Yeah, to knock the Brachio tank out of its hand. And then while they're falling out of the air, like, goes into the inside of the Brachio tank where Chopper's, like, crying, trying to resuscitate Usopp, who's, like, passed out, bleeding out of the corner of the mouth. He's like, Commander Chopper, how are things going? He's like, it's terrible. Then he picks up the radio and he's like, everything's good here, Frankie. And he's like, all right, tell Usopp to prepare for boarding. And they're like, boarding, and all their eyes glow. And then he shoots the radical beam, and then literally every guy in the entire thing on both sides just like, was that a laser? Freaking sweet. They all get like the glowy eyes that every guy on the freaking Straw Hats gets. It's amazing. Frankie really is cool though.
Especially with his like design at this point. It's like, I like this outfit he's got going on.
I mean, Brooke is still my favorite Straw Hat, but yeah, this is still cool.
Yeah. And then we see that, and then they tell Frankie to watch out because Big Mom is going to hit him from behind.
I think she's the one who says watch out.
Does she say watch out?
Yeah, I think it's Big Mom. She's like, you're open, Straw Hat or something.
Oh, yeah. She does.
And he's like, damn it, because he can't get another Radical Beam ready, and he actually needs a second after Radical Beam to get ready anything else.
Yeah.
But,
and then we see that
Jinbei judo flips her, literally. Fishman judo flips her. Yeah, what was it called? Like Sea Spiral or something?
A whirlpool shoulder throw.
Yeah, whirlpool shoulder throw. Literally, she spins, and then she gets grabbed and clutched by Robin. So she's kept in a ball, and then she keeps rolling her down the hill, and then that one's called, like, Deflurium, which, oh my god.
What's it say? Millefleur. I probably butchered that.
Yeah, Millefleur is the flower beginning. The flower's name is Deflurium.
Oh, okay, Deflurium.
Yeah. Yeah, all of her techniques are like Millefleur. It's the number of flowers, yeah.
And then Jinbei is just a baller. Because Big Mom says she'll kill him for this, and he's like, I welcome the attempt. He's like, oh my god.
This is a baller all around, because who would have thought, like, okay, think how many years it's been since Robin actually fought somebody.
Oh, it's been so long.
The last one was like Diamante. I think Diamante was the last one.
When was Diamante?
Dressrosa.
Oh my god.
The end of Dressrosa. She fought Flag Man.
Mm-hmm.
It got her back ripped up. But the first thing she does in her first fight in like 5 years is yeet Big Mom. I can't believe I just said yeet Big Mom. Do you realize, like, okay, Jinbei and freaking Robin could totally just wipe Big Mom out completely right now by just, like, throwing her the nearest pool. So she drowns. Like, throw her in the nearest koi pool, and she's dead. Roll her out towards Sparrow into the sea while he's fighting Marco. Make him choose, oh, do I win this fight, or does Mom die?
The emotional dilemma we didn't know we needed.
I think he would let his mom die.
At this point. Oh, man. But yeah, that is kind of, I guess, like, I mean, they could have done that, but it's probably like, oh man, she's a Yonko. We can't take her out that easy. I guess.
I love how basically Luffy has no reaction to this. He's like, oh yeah, they took out Big Mom. Anyways, I'm going to try to go back to his Kaido. And he's like, jumped up near,
Excuse
I'm at the right point now? I can't
make sure
it, so,
for us. But, yes. Because,
yeah, it's like they jump up near Queen. What does Queen say again?
He says, he just says, hey, Straw Hat, because then Queen's up there.
Yeah, and then Zoro walks out of the door behind Queen, and he's like, Luffy, where you been? like how did Zoro end up outside, first of all?
His directions, probably.
Like, that's my favorite part about this is like, okay, we know what's behind Queen is a door to the outside because of what happened with what they did to Kaido. So, literally, he's been running around like, dang it, or Luffy's lost, and he ended up outside, coming back in. Oh, that's gotta be one of my favorite Zoro is lost moments. But he's not really lost, because he's like, hey, Luffy, you had to Kaido, take me with you.
Oh, yeah. Because they're just ignoring Queen. It's like, hey, Luffy, where are you going? To beat up Kaido. And then the next thing we see, Luffy sets up Rocket.
Yeah, and then there's just this...
Zoro up there.
And that's when they notice there's just a swarm of Smile and Zone fruit users that can fly. Plus,
because,
plus King. who apparently
Queen, or
King.
was it King?
King's up there.
Okay, it's King. Okay, King.
Queen's on the banister. Queen can't fly. Queen turns into his brachio form now.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's just saying he like catches him because he goes to use Rocket, and then he catches him, and then they notice all the like.
They notice the way up is definitely blocked, so they end up back down with all the other Straw Hats. And I think this is where like Sanji stands up.
Yeah, because we see the.
Apparently
kind of cornered.
Yeah, there was no King fight. He just like got taken away, and then he's like, "Man, I hate to say it, but this suit's durable." And he stands up, and he's in the middle of the rubble with all the Straw Hats. And this is where we get the giant double page spread of every Straw Hat. But somehow they managed to hide Carrots, who we knew was standing there.
They did it on purpose.
Yeah, it's to get the double page spread of all the official Straw Hats. And since she's not official yet, it's like, eh.
Then we got singing Jinbei at the front.
I mean, he deserves it. He just flipped Big Mom. Are you gonna say he doesn't deserve it for yeeting a Yonko?
But I mean, if you look at the page, it's got. I mean, I know you can't because your phone's it, but it's like we got Usopp, we got Frankie in the very back, and then there's Chopper.
Yeah. In
his bigger form.
Oh yeah, no. Just saying, Frankie's now in his Frankie Shogun form.
Yes. And then we got Usopp at the front, with Zoro right beside Luffy, and then Robin squished in the back between Luffy and Zoro. And then there's Jinbei at the front. Brook is back and between Sanji and Jinbei. Sanji's got some awesome gloves on. I want to mention that. And then
he's had those awesome gloves on. He's had those on the entire time. Huh? Yeah, since the ship, remember? I
don't.
Yeah, whenever they revealed the outfits for him, whenever they all came out of that cave, whenever they thought the ships were all gone, and it's like the Straw Hats were just like late, and they revealed all the cool new outfits. Sanji had gloves on. Huh. Yeah, and his suit's red and white. It's cool.
I never noticed that. Wow. Huh. I need to go back and look at that because I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, he's been wearing cool gloves this entire time. But we know Carrot's standing right there with them, but literally they position the Straw Hats so the bodies of the bigger ones hide her. She's probably just like, I'm here too, Bunny Foo.
Man, we need Carrot on the team. Give me a round 10, please. Just, please.
But yeah, Luffy basically says, I'm heading back up there, but I'm trusting this to you guys. And they're like, yes, sir.
And then that's where the chapter ends at that point.
Which, that's a pretty cool moment. I don't think they've ever, we've ever seen a moment where Luffy gave an order like this before. He's done, the burn that flag and, general things, but he's never given them, a specific order before. This is a full-fledged order for the entire crew that nobody questioned.
There's this is how to act. It's not like a.
It's like when things get serious, this is how they'll act.
And we know they can handle themselves at this point.
Oh yeah, still waiting for that bunny foo.
Bunny foo, man!
Little bunny foo.
So bad.
What I love is that because since she has Bunny Geppo, whenever she looks at the moon and there's that giant hole in the center, she could literally just fly around with Bunny Geppo with Sanji, taking out the aerial flyers.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, because you could have told me that she can't use her mink electricity to just go and destroy all of them. With Sanji, who's also using Diablo Jambe.
So they could both handle that so easy at this point.
Yeah, they're not going to handle, King, but, I totally think that together they could handle King, but, one or the other, I don't think they could handle King alone.
Well, I don't mean to say they could, but it's just,
But, yeah, I mean,
if they
could totally take out all the Smile users, end up fighting King together, and just wipe him.
That's such a cool... a giant Brachiosaurus versus a man with flame legs and a bunny.
Yeah, you know that freaking Big Mom is just going to show up in the middle of all this, and I hope Nami and Carrot have... Nami uses Carrot's Electro to boost her electricity so that she can hit make up for the fact that she doesn't have Zeus right now,
Mm-hmm.
and hit Big Mom and take Zeus.
It'd be cool. Just take him back again.
Yeah, go back to being Sun Wukong Nami.
Oh, but yeah, that's that chapter.
Yep, moving
That was
on.
a good chapter.
I'll give you a
Man,
second.
so many sweet moments of the crew. It's like this crew just works so well together.
Yeah, I'll give you a second to pull up Burn the Witch, but yeah.
Let me check Burn the Witch for sorry.
Yeah, because we're gonna need that because my phone's completely dead and we don't have notes on that one. But
there's not a whole lot to this one. We do have a great color page though.
Yeah, but
for the chapter, it's like it's Nini and Noelle just laying in bed. Oh my gosh, that sounded really weird, but I mean like they're just chilling. Like Nini's reading.
Yeah.
And Noelle's reading a magazine
and listening to music. Yeah.
And they got cat, a little kitty cat. This is giving me Dio and Poochie vibes, but whatever. I don't need.
Two bros sitting on a bed naked because they're not gay.
Well, to be fair, Dio was sitting in a chair. It was
naked.
He was shirtless. He had pants on.
What about that time he came out of the shower and was actually naked?
There was that time, yes.
Yeah.
There was
it's like,
time.
Don't tell me that it wasn't hella gay. It was hella gay. Poochie's hella gay.
They never say it, but I full on believe it.
I mean, he turned into his literal priest and worshipped him as a god.
It's like Vanilla Ice on steroids.
A very apt comparison, but
have you ever, like, you know what I'm talking about with Vanilla Ice, or do you think I'm talking about the rapper?
No, I know what you're talking about. I made it that far.
Okay. I didn't know how far you'd made it.
I do not remember how this actually starts. I knew. Oh yeah, he's like.
Let's see. Their boss is looking in on the council.
Oh yeah, he's looking for the counselors, and he's gets called out by the leader of Sabers.
Mm.
He's like, "I covered for you, but you left anyways." So he said that he got kicked out, so he lied to them.
Which I wonder why he would lie to them.
Yeah, but it's
like what use is that? It's not like they.
But yeah, it's like he's in here digging for some kind of information, and we don't even know that because why he would be doing that. Because we find out here he doesn't actually know about the hit order for Balgo.
Mm.
And he basically says that if he would have known about it, he would have done something about it because he knows what a couple of the council members would probably do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts over to...
We get the next part of the explosion scene from last chapter with... Honestly, I forgot that guy's name. What is it again?
It should be on that page. It's like he's explaining like what he's doing, and then
Bruno
Bang Knife.
Bang Knife. Yes.
I love the name.
I love all these names. Like seeing that old man who has like what was his name? He has the crazy
/Hot.
Wolfgang /Hot. Yes, I love these names, dude.
But I don't remember how he's threatening them again. But
because he. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying I don't have it in front of me. Like I can't tell you anything about what happened at all until like Noelle insults him. But
yeah, he's saying that he doesn't want to kill them, and he doesn't want to mess with workman's comp.
Yeah, he's like basically I don't want to do the paperwork because I'm the paperwork department.
Yeah.
And then Noelle is like, "Who are you again?" And then which makes him relatively PO'd, and Nini basically.
And then Nini explains that he's the Inks leader.
Yeah, the leader of the department of the Inks, Bruno Bang Knife. He's like, at least one of you know who I am. Then basically he explains the whole hit order on Balgo.
Oh, yeah, he does. He takes a call, or he doesn't take a call. He calls somebody to set up a dragon blockade.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, it's me. Put up a dragon blockade." And that person down there that's a Wingbind employee, arrest him.
Yeah, so he gave them the coat and the pipe or the horn to like make him stand out so they can capture him easier. And then
he also set up this whole like terrorist attack of like, everyone would believe that
they got infected by the dragons.
No, that a dragon clan would attract a dragon and then end up exploding this place in a terrorist act. Everybody would believe that. He's like, not that I actually care. I give a damn what people believe. So he's the one who brought what is her name? Nina?
Nina, yes.
Yeah, he's the one who brought Mina to here.
And then he talks to them about how they got the official order to kill
execute,
Balgo.
Yeah, Balgo.
At 2200. So when they get the official, like, sent out, kill this man.
Yeah, it's supposed to be out in the next 3, what is it? Yeah, within the next 3 days, there's an official hit order for every witch or wizard to come to kill him to receive something.
Mm.
So they'll all be after him.
And then he explains that, and is like, "I'm here. I understand how this works. So just don't get in my way."
And then Noel is just like, "Hey, your dye job so cringe." And he's like, "I'm gonna kill these kids." He's like, "Bring on the worksman comms form. I don't give a crap. I'm about to murder these two."
I felt like I kind of cringed myself at him putting the dialogue of "your dye job is so cringe," but I also love how mad it made the dude. So I don't really care because it was funny.
Yeah,
it's so weird. And then we get the official page for the chapter, which is just Balgo tying his shoe next to his little dog buddy.
Yeah.
So for some odd reason, we get like a color page that's really nice. We get some chapter stuff, and then the chapter gets its official page opening.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird, but I like it.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff because it's a promotion material for the movie.
That makes sense. And then, oh my gosh, I forgot his name again.
Who?
Bruno Bangknife. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to these names. I need to go back. I need to read that one shot at some point. But he starts breaking up the glass on top of the building with his power, I guess. Oh, actually...
Yeah, they don't really actually show anything about it. It's like, he just kind of flexes and his orb around him just explodes.
Mm-hmm. You see, like, the outline of it a bit.
Mm-hmm. But he's doing this without, like, a witch kit. Like, he doesn't have, like, one of those horn wand guns. Mm-hmm. He's just exploding.
Yeah. And then we get... I really like the way these characters talk to each other, in a way, because Noel makes fun... Let me get some water real quick. Noel makes fun of Bruno's hair, and then...
Nini's like, Nini, you did a good thing, and she's like, I didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. I just love how they talk to each other. And then Bruno makes fun thinking they can get cocky with him.
Yeah.
Since he's their superior and he's like the leader. So he's super strong. And then he does all that. And then Noelle she jumps down. Nini jumps, from what I can tell in this, from what I could tell in the panel, it shows Noelle going down to attack the people surrounding Balgo with her gun. Or her wand, I guess?
Yeah, it's her horn wand. They call them witch kits. We get an actual word for them now, so it's a witch kit.
Alright, and then she blows up the area around them.
And he's basically like, look up, you idiots. But causes like air compression to knock them down while she flies down and grabs Balgo and the same thing. He's like, what did he say? He's like, no, well, you saved me. And she's like, my actions would seem to appear that way.
I just love. It's like they hate this poor kid for some reason.
Yeah, they hate him, but they're like, he's mine to hate on.
It's like, we don't hurt our buddy. And then you see a really cool shot. Man, I love Kubo's art. Of Nini goes behind. You see just the tip of the witch kit.
During the entire time he was going down, she was going down. Like Bruno was paying too much attention to that, and he's like about to do something, and then you just see the tip of her witch kit on the back of his head. And she's like, I just have some questions for you.
Oh, it was Macy, by the way. It was Macy.
Yeah.
Was the lady with the dragon.
Okay.
But she asked him if he brought Macy here, which it turns out he did, because...
Well, she asked 2 questions, and he's like, keep it to 1.
Yeah, did you bring Macy here, and why is she with a dragon? And we found out that he did bring her there.
But yeah, he's not responsible for why she has a dragon. It turns out she's what they call a watcher.
Yes.
Yeah, so she can interact with dragons from the other side of London, which is apparently what both Ninny and Noah were.
Mm.
So that's basically like the first step towards becoming a witch. Or at least a part-time witch.
In these next 2 chapters, we might get a cute little moment like that. I don't know.
Yeah, a trio of witches. But yeah.
Is it weird that like I'm getting into it and now it's kind of like, oh, we only got 2 chapters left?
Yeah. Oh. Based off of what I'm hearing, yeah, it seems like 2 chapters or 3 left. But, but yeah, he was like, yeah, keep the question to 1, you shitty brat.
And then it says, he tells her that she found an infant dragon frontside, and then we see where, let me make sure she's a watcher, and then she goes to shoot him, and he just, like...
Yeah, he kicks it straight out of her hand.
Yeah, he's don't even bother.
Yeah, he's like, you really need to be paying more attention, but he kicked it directly into Noelle's hand, who now has 2 guns. Which I love how she just constantly keeps shooting things. Like, Ninny has gotten to do nothing when it comes to combat yet, at all. It keeps being Noelle with a gun.
And then I love her blank stare. Like, she's got 2 guns pointed at the dude, just like, I love it. Just the
yeah, I don't think we get a spell name for what she does either. She just straight up blasts him.
Yeah, and it's 2 giant explosions. It looks really cool. And then Ninny, who's also Nina.
Before we got to that, he's like, I could get you right now for the unlawful use of a witch kit, all kinds of stuff. He's like, just stand down, and then kick that out of her hand, and then immediately another unlawful use of a witch kit.
Oh, yeah. And then I go between Ninny and Nina because I guess her name is Nina because Macy calls her that. Yeah. So I go between that. So if I say that, that's why. But they blow it up, and then Ninny saves Macy, and excuse me, she summons Marshall, grabs Macy, and flies off.
Yeah, Marshall being her little dragon broom.
Mm-hmm. And then they have to leave the...
Yeah, Macy kind of freaks out because she's like... she's super attached to Ellie, which is the name of that bomb dragon she's been using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, they fly off, grab Balgo, and they like start ditching it, and they're heading straight out. Yeah, and Balgo, who's already mad because it's like the way he's viewing this is he's completely within his right to do everything he's just did because anti-dragon precautions give him the right to do everything he's done so far.
Mm-hmm. Like, he's in the right law-wise, but it's just they don't want him to kill this poor kid.
Especially since, like, the way he explained how the paper going up is, like, this kid is considered, like, the most dangerous thing at all. So we are getting rid of him, and that's whenever they just kind of nope out and flip out and leave. But whenever he sees this, he's like, "Oh, you're not getting away." And then what is the name of it?
Rickenbacker.
Yeah, Rickenbacker. And he just gets mad and he gets this like evil grin and he says Rickenbacker, and like black lightning saps out from around him, and then he's surrounded.
Sweet-looking dragon.
Yeah, I don't know if he summoned the dragon or if the dragon just became visible, but it was sweet.
That's what I was wondering, because when he blew up that part of the building...
Yeah, it was in the same circle this thing gets summoned in.
Mm-hmm. So, like, was that thing invisible this whole time?
I don't know, but the way they're building up is like this dragons are like the Bankai of this. So it's basically like only the captains or department heads have them, are the main characters, who totally are going to get dragons, but that's going to be cool. Anyway...
I imagine those at this point, like Marshall and Noel's dragon, are probably Shinkai's, I would guess at this point. And then like,
Or more like sealed form. Like they're just useful utility items.
mm,
They're not really like combat dragons, but like Ellie totally is.
yeah,
And
well,
I
she
have a
looks
feeling like Sushi is probably like actually terrifying,
like a
whatever it wants
secret
to be.
combat dragon.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. I really want that to be a thing.
It
Give me
goes
the
from
cute corgi puppy also being a giant murder puppy.
giant murder puppies, Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he summons Rickenbacker,
Yeah, and
and
then
we just see the thing go around him. Like this is
yeah,
a big dragon.
it's a big boy and it's a cool looking boy. Like designs from Kubo have always been cool. So yeah, this is a top tier. Cool dragon. I like it. But it cuts to like the outskirts of reverse London then, where they've pretty much just stopped to talk to what'd you say your name is again?
Macy,
Macy.
because she's crying because she doesn't know their laws about the dragons. Like she just raised it because it turns out like she was
Yeah.
looking for.
The reason she left was going to leave the band. She planned to leave a long time ago because she's like, I don't fit in there. I'm only they only picked me because I'm tall. I have a blank face, which could be considered cool, and I can dance. It's like I would have left a long time ago if you hadn't been there. And then I was still planning on leave. I was just planning on spending my days kind of wasting away there until I met Ellie and raised her 2 months ago.
Yeah, because she finds Ellie sleeping on like a side of the road.
And at first she thought she was like, she saw it and she's like, oh, I can hallucinate when I'm not on drugs too. So apparently her life has been hell. But,
apparently.
But yeah, she thinks she's hallucinating, but she takes it home and it drinks water and then it eats food. So she's like, this isn't a hallucination. So she just keeps feeding it and she's like,
and it
started to bond
fruits.
with it. Yeah. She started to bond with it, figured out what it liked and disliked and everything, and then just became really attached to it. And after she got this thing and felt special and felt like she had self-worth, she kind of left. And then the night before, Bruno Bangknife, have to say that name, it's so cool, but Bruno Bangknife comes over to her apartment and basically tells her that she's special and he needs her to come with him.
Yeah. And that's how
when
it
she
sets
just
up
starts
this
like,
whole...
yeah, and that's whenever she just starts crying, and then he's like, and then suddenly Bruno is right behind them on freaking Rickenbacker. It looks sweet. Like he's standing there like Rickenbacker's a skateboard. He's like, so you've been saying your final words to each other?
Oh yeah. Because we find out in the next panel, or not in the next panel, but on the next page after that, they set up. They finally got the official Balgo.
Yeah, not even final. Like it got expedited, and he is already like the posters are everywhere. Every witch and wizard in the entire Reverse London is now after him, and Macy. And then yeah, because he specifically says then that like Macy is also like wanted. Mm-hmm. But which I'm not understanding really because like Bruno literally said that Balgo was supposed to get blamed for the terrorist act.
Well, maybe he's just taking her in too. Like she, like
yeah, probably like. I imagine that they have somebody who's like Maori and can like wipe minds, but through like diabolical evil means.
So I'm thinking it's like he's just using her. It's like, oh man, I can get Balgo like this with this lady, and then I'll just get rid of her to cover tracks or
that are all wipe her mind and make her into a witch because obviously she'd be useful.
Mm-hmm. Which makes you think if they could do that, do you think that happened to Noelle and Ninny? Like, do you think they would have? You think they'd go that far with it?
I don't think they wipe their minds. Yeah, I don't think they'll go that far.
I know we just kind of.
They don't have time to go that far. Yeah, they don't have time to go that far. But
they didn't have time for 9 stinking captains either. But we got that.
Oh, what happens after they say that? Like, is that where the chapter ended? Whatever he talked about, like every witch and wizard's now after him.
Yeah, he gets the Balgo's a moron because Bruno Bangknife says that the order's officially out, and he shows him his little hollow pad thing that he has, and then Balgo. Man, a lot of B names here.
Yeah.
Balgo's like, wait, what? What's going on? And then the chapter ends.
Why am I wanted? Yeah, he's just like unaware completely because they have not told him at all. Because they haven't had a chance to really tell him.
Because all the stuff hits the fan real quick.
But yeah, Rickenbacker.
That's the end of that one.
I freaking love that dragon name.
That's a cool dragon name.
Like, it sounds like nonsense, but then you look at it and you're like, Rickenbacker sounds badass.
Always like old English names like that, like Rickenbacker.
Yeah, I want more cool names like that, but just don't name a dragon Crumpets. For the love of God, don't name a dragon Crumpets.
Crumpets?
Yes.
You think they would?
I totally think they would. I think the Piper's one's name is Crumpets. That old-looking gnome dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just a jolly gnome. Yeah, that guy, his is totally going to be named Crumpets, and it's going to be like a boulder face.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. What they need to do is just, like, show us what all the dragons look like. Like,
that's what I'm hoping happens. Is like we'll get like a little like art sketch thing at the end of this limited run, because the way it seems to be going is that Kubo has gotten the green light for his the anime ending. Finally, we're gonna get the anime ending, which that'll give him a second chance to fix that, which will make fans happy. Like even us,
for Bleach, by the way.
We can finally be happy with how Bleach ended. If the anime changes things.
Which it may or may not, because some have done it, like the
that or if
it
takes a little bit from like the light novels or anything, like please, for the love of God. Everyone knows we don't like the ending. Like, change at least how the Deus Ex Machina works. If you have to use the Deus Ex Machina, change how it works.
Or even just explain it better. Like
sooner too.
I think it's been a while since I read Bleach, but I think the chapter that it's used is the chapter it's explained.
Yeah, and the chapter it's brought up is one chapter before that, so it's like we couldn't introduce the item that we're going to kill God with near the beginning of this arc, when Uryu was like infiltrating as the A.
You know, that would have been a good time because, like,
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that would have been cool. Like, we could have had like some assassination thing in there because he
and I know that Kubo got suddenly pressed for time and he was like trying to ask for a 20 chapter extension and got denied. And he's like, well, I'll just have to end it now, I guess.
Which I have to wonder. I mean, he's not like bad at pacing necessarily, but would 20 chapters have helped?
I'm sorry, but not bad at pacing. How long is Bleach again?
I think 600 and something chapters. I think like 83.
How many arcs are actually in Bleach?
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5,
no,
6,
4.
But it sucks.
Nah,
and 7.
You're a little too far. There's only like 4, because a lot of those we think are separate arcs are actually just 3 stages of the same story.
Well, I was thinking it was like there's the before Soul Society, there's Soul Society.
Well, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the Arrancar. People separate the Arrancar arc. That's all the same thing. It's still the same final villain. It's still the same everything.
Okay, so that one is like, okay, so we have...
if we're going with major, like, plot story arcs, like, this is the same way you really divide, like, One Piece. Because there are arcs, because it's like, oh, we're doing different things in each arc, but the saga's the goal. It's like Bleach was really done in sagas. It's like there's the Soul Society saga, there's the Arrancar saga, the Fullbringer saga, and then there's the 1,000-Year Blood War arc saga. It's 4 things. There are 4 real arcs in this story.
Which feels weird because, like, we have the Soul Society where it fleshes it out, you know, pretty well, I'd say. And then we get the Arrancar stuff where it's like, okay, this is awesome. Yeah. And then the Fullbringer gets 1 arc.
Yeah, and it's not very long at all. Like, it is outrageously short for what it is. And he was like, okay, I need to cut this short so I can get to the 1,000-Year Blood arc, because I know, like, this was just supposed to be we're getting back after the time skip arc. But I really like how they set up the Fullbringer arc. I don't really like how it ends, because it kind of just abruptly ends a bunch of characters. Like, I'm not talking about whenever Kabachi literally brutally ends a character in like 1 second. That's not what I'm talking about, actually. I'm talking about the two main villains of the arc just kind of start acting out a character, and then it's over.
One thing I felt was weird too is like, when I think back on it, is like, why did he have to lose his powers in the first place?
You know what? There were some cool things that could have come out of that, really. It's like,
No, I'm not saying it's like awful, but it feels like an ending of the series thing more than a, like, we still have 2 giant arcs left.
It did, but it was like, oh, I can kind of see why he did it too, because he was like, being a Shinigami is now what defines Ichigo. So it's like, what happens when you take away what defines him? But it's like, okay, the full bring power and Ichigo suddenly having it, that's a little convenient.
Yeah.
I mean, we already knew that he was Quincy. Why didn't we just, like, use the Quincy thing? Like, we weren't supposed to know he was a Quincy, but we knew he was a Quincy.
Yeah. It's like, he's one of everything in this story.
And it's like, I don't believe that his hollow powers would go away either. So it's like, give him a little bit of having to get used to just the hollow power and just the Quincy power. And then give him back his Shinigami powers in some way that, like, literally there's the Soul King and the pieces of the Soul King. I could believe that touching one of them or getting attacked by one of them would give you Shinigami powers as, like, a bad effect of it.
And then there's the whole thing that would have been cool too, because it's like, yeah, you get the pieces, and then like you get the Quincy powers, you get the Fullbring powers, and then it's like you get the Shinigami powers after you've already had them. So he could just be like, okay, now I'm back to normal, pretty much, and he'd have the experience from using the other powers to make some cool new stuff or something.
And it would made Uryu more useful.
Yeah, that's
yeah, because like Uryu could literally train him how to use that, because it's like, you don't have to be an archer to be a Quincy. It's just they're traditionally archers.
Yeah, that's how he prefers to do it.
Yeah, but we already saw that the knives are stronger. So it's like, okay. But we're going on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's like, the first time he actually got, like, rushed was at the end of the Fullbring arc. And it's like, that was the first signs of, like, a big crack. And then halfway into the 1,000-Year Blood arc, he's, like, kept asking for extensions, and they kept getting mad at him. And then they just stopped giving him extensions.
And then we got the final parts of Bleach.
Yeah, which are not good at all. Mostly because it's just a big FU to the fans. Not really by him, but more of by Jump. Because they're like, okay, you're not getting another extension, end it. Just made it so that, like, okay, we didn't get a lot of the Bankais. We didn't get whether a bunch of characters are alive or dead even explained.
Yeah, like, they end stuff. It's like the stuff with Urahara and, like, Noel and all those. It's like, they got poisoned, I guess, to not death.
In a light novel, we had to figure out whether Grimjaw was alive or dead.
Yeah, it's like, there's so much going on.
That in Haribel, it's like, okay, did she die after getting tortured? Like, where is she?
Yeah, they end a chapter on that and then never go back to it.
You don't get a single glimpse. It's like, okay, you could have not cleared him for another 20-chapter extension. You probably should have given him a 5-chapter extension of a wrap-up. I feel like even then he could have gotten a little bit of more creative with how he would have introduced that Deus Ex Machina.
Well, I feel like at a point it would have gotten a bit too funky, because we already had the moment of Ichigo getting his new power-up, which is just a lesser power, or a lesser version of a power he already had, so that was kind of annoying. And then, like, he loses it immediately.
Yeah, he's like, I finally realized the full, like, my full identity, like, spiritual identity. And he gets that cool form, which is a weaker version of all his other forms, mixed together. Like,
and then Yuha just like slaps him and it goes away. And then he loses his sword only for Tsukijima to then come in, stab him, rewind time, and then act like that didn't happen. And literally disappear from the story. So it's like, even with more chapters to finish up, it still would have been kind of funky.
yeah.
I feel
it's
like.
Yeah, it's like it wouldn't have been great, but we at least would have gotten character details of like actual endings for a bunch of these characters. Like, is Grimjaw alive? Did Chad die to that random goon that was on the staircase?
He did not, actually.
It's like, yeah, but we didn't know that for so long. It's like, is Chad dead? It's like, is Chad dead? And then, like, if you really pay attention, he gets, like, a tiny panel in the corner of him boxing.
Yeah, it's like they're all watching his boxing match, which also feels weird because, like, he's cheating at that point.
He still has spiritual pressure. Even if he's not, like, using the full bring and stuff, he can't suppress the fact that it makes him so much stronger.
Like, that was his whole introduction, wasn't it? He was doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, he's outrageously strong, and so he won't hit anybody.
And now he's a boxer.
Yeah.
Because why not?
I guess the show he got over the trauma of hurting people.
I guess.
But,
it just feels kind of weird.
It's like, I really just wanted to know, like, I didn't want to have to dig into supplemental material to figure out that, like, Neliel and Grimjow and Haribel are alive.
We shouldn't need to do that.
Like, what happens with Yoroichi? We didn't actually get that in the so it's like, unless you believe what, like, Can't Fear Your Own World as canon, which most people are taking it as canon, because it hasn't been directly stated to not be canon, so we have hope.
You know, like, honestly, one thing that always bothered
Buttered
me
my biscuits.
was that final panel. Like, of all things to end the series on, it's like you get Ichigo and Orihime's son going, I forget his name, but he's going, he's showing his Shinigami powers with his little baby Shinigami gloves.
Yeah.
Which that was cute. And then it's like Renji and Rukia's daughter. Did I say daughter for the other? No, his son gets the clothes, and then Renji and Rukia's daughter is like, what? And that's how it ends. Like, just cut that last panel out. It's so stupid. It bothers me, you know?
I can kind of understand why, because, like, she would be shocked to see a Shinigami in the world of the living. Also, they didn't make it clear. Has Rukia and Renji been living in the world of the living in Gigai?
I think they said they were visiting from the Soul Society, so I think...
Yeah, so this kid's been growing up as a soul in the Soul Society, then. Also, how is there a baby soul? Where did it come from?
Huh.
I'm confused. Like, Gigais make it make sense, but yeah, like, I'm not sure. Because, like, Ishin was able to have children, but that's because he used that weird permanent Gigai that was made for him. And he married an actual human, Quincy.
Which I would imagine.
So, like, I'm not even sure if the mechanics of 2 Gigai even works. So, that's a hell of a place to leave this off on. What are the mechanics of Shinigami sex? If anybody has notes for us, please leave them in the comments. Subscribe to the like button, like the subscribe button. Good day.